Thanks for staying with us. Yesterday, several flights were rescheduled following the ongoing protests by students at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Students had made good their threat to shut down the airport over the prolonged strike by ASU. On this show this morning, we'll be looking at the effects of the protests, the lingering strike, the government, ASU, and then the students. Join the conversation 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. So I've heard different comments on the students' protest yesterday. Some thought that, it was a good thing for the students coming out to, because they are the victims in this whole scenario. Others said that, yes, it's good to strike, but you must be considerate of others. What are your general thoughts on this, on their protest, especially blocking the international airport? And when the president was asked why international airport, said this is a corridor where those that are going out and coming in can be affected, and hopefully their voices can be heard. And some have said, well, there are other ways you can still strike and your voices will be heard. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it was a good thing, and do you feel that there are plans to go to either 3rd Mainland Bridge today or the Apapa ports today? I saw it in the papers that they are threatening to go further. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know, BC, you want to start on?
Okay, so I think the Nigerian students are doing what they can do with the resources available to them. Like you rightly mentioned at the beginning, that some persons have said that they are the victims of this. When two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that suffers, and they are the grass in this case. Because at the end of the day, ASU will resolve, federal government will resolve, they will move back to class, they will probably earn all the money that they missed. The time now that the students have lost, nobody can get it back. Nobody. That time is gone. So if we're supposed to be graduating at the age of 25 now, and you take out like 1 year, that's 26. And that's if another strike does not happen when you continue school. So they are the victims. And the pain is so much that they need to reposition themselves to those very specific places where their voices can be heard. When the aviation people decided to do their own strike and all of that, before you realize the federal government waded in, because you know what that means. It would affect even the president, it would affect the governors, it would affect the leaders from traveling if they go on strike. So the matter was quickly sorted so that it doesn't affect those people. Now the students are saying, so if you people can pay attention to these ones because it will affect you personally, you have to pay attention to us. Why don't we find a way to block those places so that you pay attention to us? I wouldn't blame the students, And the other places that they have earmarked, that they're going to be standing, they need to be paid attention to.
Right.
Unfortunately, it just seems like the government is taking its time to pay attention to them. It seems like ASU is not ready to relent in paying attention to these children. They need to be paid attention to. And for me, this just seems like the only way that they are going to get that sort of attention.
So paying attention to the students really is calling off the strike, and that's what they want.
It. Yeah.
Now, but government to tell you, I've met them halfway. I have made some payments. I have agreed to give them a certain amount of salaries. As you're saying, no, it's what we want or nothing. So these are two elephants that are fighting. What are your thoughts on this protest? And do you think that they could have gone about it a different way?
Okay, so I think government could have gone about it a different way. We learned how to strike from our colonial masters, the places that they are now. Because presently the president is in New York, the vice president is in London. I wonder if the king was asking him, how will they do for house? He will say, oh, correct, we are fine. We are not fine. Britain suffered an inflation recently. Their workers, rail workers, dock workers.
I was cuckoo there.
Every worker. You were there.
Yeah, I experienced it.
You were there.
45 minutes delay.
And they responded. It means that the larger percentage of their population, their workforce, their greatest resource, human resource, if they scream, leadership would respond. But for here, who is ASU again? They are used there. They are politicized. No, they haven't. When you meet them, ASU would know they've been met.
Yeah.
ASU would compromise a strike, call it off while we are renegotiating inside the new MOU. We have not met nobody is meeting anybody, anything.
Yeah.
The same issues since forever years. the same issues. And we sort of watch our university system pause while we continue to do every other thing and reduce the priority to the barest, is the lowest on our priority list. We met every other thing, even in this ASU strike. As ASU they strike, politics is going on. 2023 is coming. Money for election is being released. Every other thing is in view. When the electricity workers shut down the other day, they answer them, they call them. Aviation people say they too, they will go, immediately they summon them. So they are responding to other things, but you see ASU, it's the list of priorities. And so when ASU says that they've not been met, or we say they've not taken ASU seriously, they haven't. They don't even consider it a serious issue. Recently, the Minister for Labour took ASU to court, but they are failing to prosecute. They're asking now
okay, so again,
so we need to prioritize.
Let's bring back, let's go back to the protests. The students blocking that road. What are your thoughts on the way they went about it? Because, as I said, there are different arguments on how it went about. Yes.
So for me, I feel it's so unfortunate that we have to allow students, I know they don't like to be referred to as children, but our children, because we're parents paying fees and everything, to have to go this route of standing on the road and protesting and looking for the next place that they feel will hit government the most. And the sad thing, and realistically, I'm looking at it, and I can say that I don't think that there's any place that these students will block that would affect government stance or ASU stance. That's just the truth. Everything will work around them. The people that they think that they would want this to affect have a way of finding their way around things. They will get on a helicopter and go where they need to go. They will find boats and get where they need to go. Security will make a path through the throng of people for those caliber of people to pass through. So the truth is that I don't even know what these students can do to make government and us to just sit there and say, you know what, this is enough. And because of that, the only way, and you know what, when we talk about this ASU talk, I just always say to myself, we're just talking, really. We're just talking because the only two groups of people that can do anything about this thing right now is government and ASU. And if government and ASU do not agree, no matter what we say, and the poor students, no matter where they block, it would not change anything.
What do you think? Because don't you think it's kind of dangerous for the government not to do anything at this time? Because this is election season. We already have the youths that are already angry, already upset. Now you're not using ASU to compound this strike, to compound their anger. So it's a dangerous position for the ruling party to be, where you have the Nigerian students having a legitimate reason to say, you know what, you are not listening to us. So this, if they let it get out of hand, so if they ignore it, as you have suggested, that they'll probably ignore them. If they ignore it, it might not be a good thing for this government at this time, because these children are irritated and they're getting organized, and with yesterday's happenings, they've probably been emboldened now to do more.
Yeah.
And so they're worse.
So it's not even that it's ignorance. It's not like they're ignoring them. So it's not like, oh, we are not even listening to you. It's the fact that wherever they go, they'll be like, talk to government. Government is saying, look at what we have done. Look at how many times we have sat with us. Look at all the conditions we have met so far. And look at what we have agreed to meet in future. So they're actually getting some response from government saying, we have done our part. And they go to us. ASU says, you know what we have been going through with government. You know how they make promises and they fail. If we don't stand our ground right now, this education that you think you've lost for 8 months, you may lose it for much longer if we don't take our stance now. So right now, I don't know.
So it's a gridlock.
Yeah.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the protests by the Nigerian students yesterday and the possibility of it happening again today. There's an angle of the police. We heard that the police weren't aggressive. They were rather civil this time around. I've not heard any reports of any fights anywhere. I think these are Nigerian students. So it shows that when students really do protest, they can be organized. I guess in them organizing themselves properly, should they have considered the motorists? Because I heard that their blockade actually was compounded by the rains. Now, God, it was difficult to get to the airports. So even if because I mean, you mentioned, you referenced the one that happened in the UK, which I also witnessed. Even though there was a shutdown, at least they were considerate enough to know that people had to get to work. So they told you, so during the work hours, they were available, might be a 45 minutes delay or 30 minutes delay, but there were trains and the buses, you instead of having maybe like go out there every 5 minutes, you might have it every 30 minutes.
Okay.
But at least there were buses to take you from point A to point B. So they were considerate of the fact that people had to get to work. So could this have been better organized where you protest, but at least allow some people to pass?
Their problem is as deep as our own. Their
Then
own
it's
problem is
because-
as deep.
Honestly, no vex
It's
them.
also
reach bone.
because now roadblock. So there's no emergency at the port. Me, I encourage them, they should go and shut down the port. Yes, so that government, when money is being lost, I think they'll take them seriously because we are paying amnesty and whatever through the NDDC to some people who we know clearly were criminals. These people have strong agitations. The airport might be affecting other people who want to get to their businesses, but the idea was to get government to see that we've, held down something. We've grounded something that works for you. So government must then turn and sit with ASU. I don't think that ASU's issues are so big that they
cannot
unsolvable.
surmount.
Yeah.
I don't think it has. I think that any serious government must be seen ASU's side.
Yeah.
Our
I
institutions
think it's about
are they
priority,
good?
as you said.
It's
Prioritizing.
Our institutions, are they good? If they were good, why did you, as government, send your children abroad? Is it an alternative? Not be an alternative.
Some
It is
government
not-
officials will tell you
is
that my
it-
children are in Nigeria. Some will
Where?
argue
They're
that.
lying.
Some of them.
Even as
Some of them.
even inside
Don't
ASU,
say it.
Some
They're
of
lying.
them.
most
Some
of those
them would
lecturers
say.
are doing. I told you, I asked ASU president that day. Most of those lecturers' children are also abroad.
Yes.
There's nothing that we are proud of. It is the poor man who cannot afford that option that is taking, and we cannot, as a serious nation, allow that option.
So if
We must be
ASU,
proud of our
if
own
we go,
institutions.
by that point of view, now even the ASU lecture, the actual lecturers, many of them are children are not here. The US, the government, many of their children are not here. So who is the suffering who?
Is the shame. That's why ASU must force that shame. We should be ashamed of ourselves. As a
Let me take
nation.
this call from
swallow the
Hassan. I'll
shame.
come to TBC.
How
Hassan,
our
are you there?
Schools not work.
Good morning.
Good morning, Hassan. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Morning.
Let me commend you for doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, sir.
Despite the fact that we are all human beings, we are born to act.
Can't hear Mr. Hassan.
Good. Please,
Maybe they can
I
hear him
would like to
upstairs.
talk about two things. First of all, about this issue of students, and secondly, about Nima. Last time when she came on board, she spoke her comment about Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State. Bala Mohammed is one in the middle. We are not also happy with the way he reacted. But what is very clear here, Nima made one statement that people from the north, mostly most of them are from the families of the affluent. That statement is erroneously expressed because it is only in the north where people grow from grass to grace.
Is this last week? Sorry, I can't recall what you're saying, Hassan. I'm not sure. I
Talked
can't
about the
recall what
Bauchi
he was
governor.
referring to.
Oh,
Okay, the
Spraying
spraying.
money.
Oh, okay.
And her opinion on
That
it.
was last week, like Tuesday or something. Okay, go ahead.
yes. So I just wish that we have a government that would be sensitive to the plight of the people. That's where the problem is. And like Miriam rightly said from the beginning, the people you really want to pay attention, you are not going to get them with these strategic positioning. What will now happen is the ordinary person too, who is trying to make ends meet, go to work, have little money to take the children to school, will be affected because government is not doing what government is supposed to be doing. So the matter now is, wouldn't it be better that you sit down and understand how best can I get the government's attention? How best can I position this, whether it's protest or to those particular places where they cannot move, they cannot take the helicopter out, where do we say we should go to the House of Assemblies, we go to the government houses?
Where?
Yeah.
I'm agreeing.
Yeah.
I'm saying where exactly? All these places here. Where is it that
but
they can?
they come to, for instance, now, even our president
Places
and
are
device.
highly secured.
That's
It won't
the
affect
thing.
them.
That's
It
the
doesn't
thing.
even
So
affect
how
them.
do
So
we
it's the
get
road that they'll
government?
pass that it affect them.
How do we get government to pay attention when
So
all these
I
ones are
think
not even
they, I think
affecting
they
them?
achieved that with this airport. What I'm saying, even though you
Did
block
they
it,
achieve
they
it?
have no, because they got the attention now.
Yeah, it got
they got
the
the media's attention. They got the
Media
government's
is
attention.
talking. What
But
has government
so
done?
the point,
However, Mariah, quickly, yesterday I took the story in the paper where they said the Speaker of the House of Representatives is going to be having a meeting with ASU today. Today is Tuesday. So maybe by evening or tomorrow, we will know if we got the attention. Because if nothing is done and ASU doesn't go back to school, that means we still did not get the attention.
Let me take Alaji Subara. Come on, Alaji Subara, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Thank you. Good.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think, let me just say clearly, what is happening now with these students is not only, it's a disgrace to this country, and at the same time to the present government. Let me tell you something. This morning I heard from the radio, you know, the Minister of Labour, he said that left with Minister of Education, it's ready for, you know, it does not bother, and it's ready for even the strike to continue for more than 2 years. You can imagine. And of recent we had, his own daughter graduated in a university. So it is because these people are not concerned. It's because they are not affected. You know, and like I said, it's a secret to the country. It's good that the student went to the airport. Let the information go, let it spread internationally and so that they know the kind of government, is on sea and the way they are patronizing the children. Look, it's not only affecting the children, it's affecting the parents. And at this juncture, I'm even advising the parents to all come out. You know, all of us cannot be sending our children to private institutions. Yeah. And what is the responsibility of government? Education is where government is supposed to be, concerned more. You understand? It's because they're not affected. That is the problem. So, they don't even go to the National Assembly. I support the issue of the international airport so that they can know the kind of government we are facing and the kind of attitude they do to our children. It's not accepted and, it is condemnable. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Elijah. That's what I'm saying. That, so, obviously, blocking the airport is where you know that whether you like the government to pass. After all, you block them,
but you don't can make way through.
Either, of course. So they have the police to help them push a way through. But the point is that when we, the regular people, now get affected, we come and we lament. Somebody was saying on the radio also that he had an appointment in Abuja for a job. He couldn't make the flight. So he's been affected because of what happened yesterday. Hopefully he'll be able to still go later at some point. But the point is that regular Nigerians have been affected. Yeah. So how do you protest without affecting other people? Or is the objective, therefore, to affect all of us so we can all join this campaign and speak on this issue of ASU strike?
The truth is that this protest is not just for the Nigerian students, it's for every one of us.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And we should join them in this protest because it does not make sense. Do you understand? Do you know we are sitting down talking about a whole country and the fact that there are many children sitting at home for 8 months and they have been unable to go back to school because government and ASU have not come to a compromise. Do you understand? I'm sure in other countries they find it weird. I'm sure they cannot even understand it. So, yes, I understand that some things may have been stalled. Some people found it quite inconvenient. But the truth is that we should all be protesting. We should all be wearing a T-shirt that says, this is not right. This is not acceptable. I don't even get it. I don't even understand when they go to bed at night, how they sleep. 8 months, 9 months, I'm going to say a whole year. Okay, what is the plan? Is it saying, okay, let's give them 2 years and see if they will be tired? Is that the plan? Where is this heading?
We should shut it down forever.
I don't get it.
Even if we have a plan from government, say, okay, guys, let us remove subsidy tomorrow. Okay, so I'm just hypothetically speaking that I don't have money to pay ASU. The only way I can get this money is let us remove subsidy tomorrow so we can save some money and give it to ASU. Maybe if we have a proper plan from government. Because the fact that they're not even saying much, they're just saying us, oh, we've paid. How much have you paid? What is outstanding? How can we support in getting outstanding? Even parents. We're willing to give out 10,000 naira from their own money to support this cause.
Nobody's talking about that now.
Even Nigerians can say, okay, all of us will do GoFundMe for federal government. Let's go support them.
That they are still, I think they talked about it a few weeks ago.
Have they received it?
So if they need, that's priority. If they need the money for ASU, why are they not pushing to receive the money so that they can sort out ASU?
Let me take
why
this
is
call.
anybody not talking about that?
Good morning.
So that the money enter. Okay, you're taking a call.
Good morning. Are you there?
Oh, my star.
Hello, sir.
Motorists, pick my call now.
Sorry, I do apologize. I have to let the lady land before I take the call. If not, you will not hear anybody anymore. Go ahead, Mr. Tony.
Motorists, how are you?
I'm very well, sir.
You have done my credit almost 3 minutes.
Sorry, sir.
Well, speaking to all of you there now.
Okay, sir.
Well, concerning ASU strike.
Yes.
You understand me? It's becoming unbecoming. You know, these are students, these are children. You understand me? We parents, we are disturbed about this issue. The one thing I want you to educate them that they will be hard fact is that Lagos is not the capital of Nigeria. They should go to Abuja, where we have our president residing, where we have our state president residing, where we have our rep residing, and all government officials residing. If what they are taking to Lagos and taking to Abuja, I'm telling you, before 24 hours, their issue will be listened to. So my advice to them is that they should take that issue to airport, because there's airport in Abuja. They should demonstrate something in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony.
You are telling me, and besides that, I think they take the school fees. So they should take ASU and government to court for paying the school fees while service is not rendered. Service is not rendered for the school fees they pay. You understand me? So this thing should be looked into. They should sue government and sue ASU, the parents or student union, students for school fees paid and service is not rendered. Because that school was for service. It was for service to let the students, and the lecturer is not there.
All right.
So I think they take it to court. What will listen to them? They have a case.
Okay, that's another perspective. Yes, Bisi, you're going to something doing.
Yes, so I was saying that we talked about a few weeks ago about the Abacha loot. And what I see is that I don't know how we can ever get our government to prioritize education. Every economy that has progressed has always paid attention to education. We have problems of insecurity, education will solve it. We have problems of inflation, education will solve it. Every problem that we have today is because we are not equipped enough to provide solution internally. We're always going outside there, bringing solutions that we have not tested here to our local problems. And that's why we are where we are today. So I don't know how we can get the government to understand that what they are taking away from the Nigerian youth, they are taking away from Nigeria itself. And we cannot progress without education. However, it seems like there's a conspiracy theory, you know, I'm always talking about it, where they want to keep the poor where the poor will be forever and focus on themselves. Because you cannot explain why you're not paying attention to the students who are supposed to be in school, the members of your public and the masses, and yet your children are constantly graduating. They will come back, they will take the best of the jobs. And these other people are left on the ground the way you have met them. We need to prioritize education. The UN should be calling out to the federal government. The African Union should be calling out to the federal government. All these international organizations, nobody's saying anything about, they're not saying anything, they're not making noise. Everybody's just throwing away their face as if there's...
But every country has their own strike going on within it. So the truth is that, yes, we all have our issues. Yes, I hear that. But the truth is that every nation is sovereign enough to solve their own problems. So it's not until somebody come and say, oh, come on, what's going on? I hear that you guys have it. And we must be able to solve our problems.
Yeah,
so internally, how do we fix the problem?
If you have a problem inside your family and you refuse to, your neighbor will hear.
Your neighbor will hear.
And Hashem no day now. Because, see, I find it so embarrassing. It's so painful.
I'm telling you.
Do you know, recently I was thinking, I was talking to someone that I was considering going out of the country to school, something that was against something I ever believed in. Because where is the school that you can go now? Somebody recently did a master's in Nigeria here. Because of the length of the period, the strikes and everything, she do mad. We cannot continue, the stress of it alone. We need to do better.
Absolutely.
We need to sit up and do better. And any leader that is coming here, coming in now, that does not have a proper plan
for education,
how these things will run on its own as an institution without any effort from outside. And it will run, it will grow per time and increase period for things, reinvestment, reinfrastructure, maintenance, all of those things for our public schools and universities. That person should just go and sit down.
Let me take a few comments and we'll wrap up on this.
Yes. Lawal says, don't blame NANS, that's the Nigerian Students Association, for their actions. We have been psychologically affected by the on-engine strike. I feel you guys in the media too should do more. How about shutting down for days in solidarity with students, not ASU this time around, but then who would inform Nigerians, right? Then Festus Akiboyewa says, do the YourView ladies have any condemnation for ASU? What ASU has been striking for 40 years, for God's sake. ASU is not beyond reproach.
But what have they done for ASU? Professor Fisayo Yomi says, structural violence occurs when those in government don't pay attention to falling education, primary healthcare, and road network. Currently in Lebanon, people take guns to the bank in broad day to get their savings when government said they should not collect cash. See Sri Lanka too, and they have several examples. I think even our neighbors.
This strike isn't fair to any Nigerian student at all. After all these delays, companies will come with their age brackets for employment.
Yeah. So they are saying we're not, tackling ASU for the strike. Have you seen the deplorable states of the universities? You'll be ashamed for.
It go pay you now.
It go pay you.
Okay, that's all we can take. I think in a nutshell, the truth is that the students do have a right to protest. I think the protest is getting the attention they require, and I think according to the reports today, they're planning on going to the ports, they're planning on going to the Milan Bridge, they're planning on going to Abuja, also was in the papers today. But I just want to appeal to the students that in all this, they should also be considerate of the other users, that we are all Nigerian, we're all parts of this country, and business must go on. And secondly, I must applaud the police for being very civil, for ensuring the safety of these students, especially because in times past, we've seen how hoodlums take over this protest and then begin to start burning tires and hair. But that hasn't happened since, I didn't see that report since yesterday. So I'm happy that the police is there protecting the students. Please continue to do your job and be as civil as possible so that this doesn't degenerate into something else. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we'll move on to our health topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.